Hey, welcome back guys. If you haven't checked out part 1, go look it up now. Part 1, we took apart this old 1966 Raleigh bicycle. The object is going to be to break it down, clean it up, build it up, and sell it with the least amount of money possible, and also making it as beautiful as possible.
Alright, let's get started. Got the front brake. Already did the back brake over here. This actually came out really good, so pretty hopeful that the front brake is going to come out equally as good. We'll start off with number 3. We're going to use this Loctite Rust Dissolver again. We used it in the first video. If you haven't seen that, go check that one out. You can see it's just taking all the rust right off. This is a 000 steel wool. It's pretty fine. The finer you get it, the better it'll be, but this stuff works pretty good. Yeah, look at that. As you can see, you got the shank with a longer side and a shorter side. You're going to want to take your washer right here. This washer is basically going to keep the spring from popping out of place. After you get the washer in, you're going to take the caliper that houses the cable, put that in first, grab a phenolic washer, put that in next, then you're going to grab the other caliper washer first. I'm going to thread this 12mm nut. That just keeps everything tight and in place. Right, we can tension that later. And then thread the nut. Now we've got to tension it. Just grab the 12mm. And this one's a 10mm, I believe. Yeah. Tighten that guy down. Now for the back, it's pretty simple. You just slide this guy in, slide this guy in, and put this one in. There we go, built up and ready for installation. Alright, so now we're going to get into taking the rear wheel apart. First we're going to take off the tire. We're going to take off all the spokes, put them all aside, get them soaking in a rust remover, and then we'll get into the Shermy Archer rear hub. And I've never done it before, so this will be a learning experience for all of us, so let's see how it goes. And this is super old. I'm pretty sure this is the original tire. Some tire levers. Sweet, and as you can see, there is a lot of rust inside here, so we're gonna have to get rid of all of that. What I am going to do is I'm going to go every 4th spoke just to kind of keep the tension somewhat even. I've noticed about these British bikes, when you look at the spokes, they all go over, right? If you look at a spoke on an Italian laced bicycle, it's going to go over and under. And basically what that does is it gives the wheel a little bit more rigidity in terms of torsion left and right. You know, this is just the way that the British did it, and that's the way that I'm going to lace them back up again as well. Alright, well, got all that off. Now let's remove all the spokes. And this is why my hands are all bloody. Doing mechanics work without gloves on, well, this is what will happen. Now, one of the things worth mentioning is, well, spokes come in all different kinds of sizes depending on your wheel, depending on your hub, depending on if it's drive side or depending on if it's not drive side. 282. This is the inside non-drive side back there. And these guys are also 282, same size. And I'm gonna measure all these just to see where we're at. Yeah, 282, 282. So they're all 282. Let's see what this one. Yep, 282. It's gonna look a little bit more like 280, 281-ish. That one's definitely 282. 282, 282, 280. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put these guys all together. Time to de-rust them. Container, throw that in there. We're gonna fill it up with Evaporators-Rust. Super safe rust remover. All right. I'll just leave it in here. Come back and check on it in about an hour and we'll see how it's doing. Alright, well, down to the last 4 of the 40 spokes that I have gotten all this calcium deposit off of, and yeah, definitely cramped my hands up a little bit. Alright guys, time has finally come. We are going to take apart this Gumout hub. We're gonna rebuild it and hopefully we get it nice and clean and shiny. And this is gonna be a learning experience for all of us, so let's get to it. Before we get started, I wanna make sure everyone is aware that this is a pretty complicated piece of equipment if you haven't done it before. I haven't done it before. I'm feeling confident with it. Hopefully everyone else is too. So make sure every single thing that you take off, you're gonna keep it in order. Right here, we got a retaining ring that we're gonna have to pry off. If you got a retaining ring calipers, those would probably help you out a lot here, but just a flathead screwdriver will also do the job. And it's important to note, we got a nice little hump on this side, so this is the outside, and this retaining side goes on the inside. If you look right here, we got a couple of notches. There's a notch there, another notch there, and we gotta unscrew this. Alright guys, so we got this hub not any further taken apart than it was before. It's looking nice and shiny though, because I have been trying like hell to break the hub apart even further with very little success. To start off with, I used a punch and a mallet. That did not work. Next, I used a pipe wrench. That did not work. Then I went to the store. I purchased 2 different types of oil filters. Neither of these worked. Then I modified my Park Tools spanner wrench. This I really had high hopes for. Again, did not work. I soaked it in WD-40 Rust penetrant. Didn't help. Where are we at now? Dirty wide mouth ball jar, fuel injector, and we're just gonna let it soak for probably a bunch of days. A bunch of days. Boy, I hope this does the trick. We are just gonna let this guy soak. I'll give it 3 days, come back and check on it, see how it's doing. Hopefully by then it'll be ready to break it free. I guess in the meantime we'll continue working on the bike. Maybe we'll de-rust those hoops, get those ready for the build-up. In addition to that, I guess we can work on this little guy, right? Yeah. Now normally when you take a hub apart, you look inside and you see all your bearings. They're nice and centered and in good places, and there's no real nasty stuff going on, but that is definitely not what we have in this situation. Now bearings are cheap, and if you want to replace them, you can. This front hub is 3/16 of an inch. Alright, so that's about as far as we're going to break this guy down. I guess we can start cleaning this up and putting it back together. So let's build this hub back up. To start off with, I want to point out some differences. In the axle, well, you have 2 threaded sides. One of the threaded sides is about 30 millimeters, whereas the other is about 35. 30 millimeter side has a stop on it, right? Now if you look at these 2 cones, one of them has flats for a 15 millimeter cone wrench, and the other does not. So as you guessed it, the one without the threads threads all the way into the stop, and it threads in tight. Next we're going to want to put some grease in there, and I'm just using Park Tools grease. You could use marine grease or whatever you choose. Next we're going to want to put our bearings back in. The easiest way to do that is to first put a bunch of grease inside the hub. The grease is going to help hold the bearings in place for us as well. Alright, so it doesn't really matter which side we put this axle in, so we're just going to go ahead and put it in this way.
first 8 set up. Now we're gonna go for the opposing pull and see how those ones are set up. All right, so the next 8, if I start to the hole just to the left of hole 1, I'm gonna pull it all the way to the right of hole 3. And for this, we're gonna have to come up from the bottom, and these are gonna go over the top. This is the last one for this side. Cool. Let's flip it over. Alright, so we got the zip tie going. This is gonna be our marker, and we got a lot of pulling to do on this right side, so let's just get started. We're gonna just do about 1 full rotation on each of these guys. So we still got a couple of little kicks in there. We'll straighten them out. There's still a lot of rust inside this hub too. It's gonna sound cool while you're biking, I guess. Well, by no means is that perfect, but I think this is about as good as we're gonna get it for right now. So what do you guys say we bring this video to a close? It's been longer than I was intending. Sorry about that. Pretty happy about these brakes that we were able to clean up. They look pretty new. A lot of chrome on them, which is good. Also this wheel, relatively true. That's all good news. That means we're making progress and this bike is gonna come together and look really good. Hopefully part 3 will be the last one. But we still got a big box of parts that I gotta go through and clean up as well. And also that Sturmy Archer hub that I wasn't able to break free. So before we wrap this all up, I just want to thank you guys for bearing with me all the way to this point. Come check out part 3, it'll be coming at you real soon. It's gonna have a lot of good stuff in it, so be sure to check it out.